If you were to die today, what would you want written on your headstone? I'm sure it wouldn't be your job title. It probably wouldn't be the amount of subscribers or followers you had. The truth is, you would want the truth on who you are. You would want people to know what you stood for. That right there, that's your why. Like, do you truly know what your why is? Why are you running so hard? Like, why do you do this thing called life? I think you honestly have to figure out why. If you want to be successful and you want to be great and you want to be remembered, then you need to figure out and find out why. And while you're there, right before they bury you, look over at your headstone. And when you're looking at your headstone, what do you see on it? Whatever your why is will likely be on your headstone. So what do you want to be remembered from? What do you want to be remembered by? The next strategy to figure out your why, for me, I actually tried this. With two close friends. Simon Sinek actually is the one who came up with this. That's the definition of a friend, but why are we friends? And as you do that, they'll continue to come up with more definitions of a friend. And it's not that you're trying to frustrate them, but you're trying to get to a certain point. But they value that, they know that any advice I give them, anything that I say to them, it's not for me, but it's for their betterment. I had a call the other day with my father. I'm gonna be honest, it broke me down. We're in two different parts of the country, and because of it, we just don't see each other like we would want to. My parents are getting much older. And for me, my father broke down crying, and when he said it, it made me cry, and it made me think, like, man, what my father mentioned was, like, he brought up both of my grandmothers. Both of my grandmothers passed away in their 60s. My parents just hit their 60s. And for me, they're the reason why I do everything, but in the same breath, I haven't spent a lot of time with them lately. So I got to figure out how to spend more time with them. What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So, do you honestly know what your why is? Like, do you truly know what your why is? And can you define what your why is? If you don't know what your why is, then I believe you truly need to figure out what your why is. Why are you existing? Why are you living? Why are you working so hard? Why are you running so hard? Why are you up late at night? Why are you trying to accomplish everything you're trying to accomplish? Why do you cry so much? Why do you sweat? Why do you go so hard? Like, why do you do this thing called life? I think you honestly have to figure out why. If you want to be successful and you want to be great and you want to be remembered, then you need to figure out and find out why. Because until you figure out why, and until you're able to define your why, then you're really not going to get to your full potential. You're going to leave a lot of stuff undone. Trying to understand my why and trying to figure out how do I and how can I come up with my why, I came upon two illustrations and strategies to help me come up with my why. And this is outside of the norm for me, because for me, typically I just pray. I'm constantly praying to God, and I'm reaching out to God and hoping that he pours into me and shows me my why. And he has shown me my why. But there are also strategies that can help you determine your why and figure out what your why is. YouTuber I follow, and he gave an illustration, and he basically said, if you want to figure out your why, think about being at your funeral, your memorial service, your homegoing service. And while you're there, right before they bury you, look over at your headstone. And when you're looking at your headstone, what do you see on it? All right? Figuratively speaking, I want you to imagine it. You're at your own funeral. What is written on your headstone? I'm sure it's not your job title. I'm sure it's not that you loved cars. Whatever is on your headstone is truly your why. Is it that you were a good husband? Is it that you loved your children? You loved your family? Is it that you inspired people? You taught people? You educated the world? You made people laugh? You encouraged people? Whatever your why is will likely be on your headstone. So what do you want to be remembered from? What do you want to be remembered by? And whatever it is that you want to be remembered by, that's likely something that's going to play into your why, if not that being your why. The next strategy to figure out your why, for me, I actually tried this. I actually tried this with a close friend recently. And I tried it with two close friends. Simon Sinek actually is the one who came up with this. And I don't know if everyone knows who Simon Sinek is. Simon Sinek is a world-renowned author, speaker, leadership, inspirational teacher. Yeah, Simon Sinek is pretty awesome. But Simon Sinek, he came up with this strategy to figure out your why. And if you're somebody that's trying to figure out your why, you should try this. I actually, like I said, I tried it with two individuals. And how the strategy works is you want to reach out to two different people. You can reach out to one person. And the one person you reach out to, you don't want it to be your wife, your husband, your girlfriend, your boyfriend. You don't want it to be your child. You don't want it to be your parents. You don't want it to be your siblings. You want it to be a friend, right? And preferably your best friend. Your best friend or your next best friend, your closest best friend, you want it to be a best friend to you. Somebody who, if you called them at 3 a.m, 2 a.m, midnight, they're going to answer the phone. That's the person you want to target because that person does know you. And that person is your best friend for a reason. And you want to ask that person a simple question. And I can promise you this simple question is going to have the person, if you do it in their like face to face with them, that person is likely going to give you a strange look. Like, what are you talking about? If you do it over the phone, I'm sure there will be a slight pause. Like, huh? Like what? They're going to pause for a moment. And I'm sure if you could see them on the other side of the phone, they probably have their face frowned or squinched like, what are you talking about? But what you want to do is you want to ask that person, why are we friends? And I'm sure that person will struggle to articulate why you all are friends. And the reason they're going to struggle to articulate why you're friends, and I realized this once I did it, and Simon Sinek, he actually says it. The reason why you will struggle to articulate why you're friends is because the part that associates emotions and feelings in your brain is a whole nother, it's a different section than the part of your brain that translates words and puts out words in your brain. So the emotional state of your brain and the state of your brain or the portion of your brain that helps you to communicate and articulate words are totally different. So there will be a struggle when that tries to happen or when they try to articulate and tell you why you're friends. And I didn't even notice or believe this, but as I thought about all the times I've struggled to articulate words and how I felt in certain situations, and it's like, wow, I've struggled to articulate how I feel because that portion of my brain doesn't align with the portion of my brain that has the emotions. But back to the why. The individual will likely struggle to articulate why you all are friends. And what they will eventually start doing is they will start basically giving you descriptions or definitions of a friend. They'll start saying things like, you're just a cool person, you're easygoing, you make me laugh, you're easy to talk to, you're always there for me. And when they do that to you, and when they say that, you want to respond to them, okay, that's the definition of a friend, but why are we friends? And as you do that, they'll continue to come up with more definitions of a friend. And you want to respond still, I get what you're saying, but that's not why we're friends. And at this time, they're probably going to be frustrated. They're probably going to be like, you're irritating me. You're frustrating me. I don't understand what you're trying to say or what you're trying to do, but you're frustrating me. And it's not that you're trying to frustrate them, but you're trying to get to a certain point. So they will likely be a little frustrated, but for you, you understand what you're trying to do. You're trying to figure out your why. So continue to push them. And what you want to do is you want to ask them, because they're going to give you a lot of definitions, but what you want to ask them is, but specifically, what specific about me is it that allows us to be friends? And eventually what they're going to do is they're going to start describing themselves. And they're going to get to a point where you're going to start hearing words like, you inspire me. I value you. And in that conversation, they will share with you what they value from you, right? In a case where I just did it, one of my friends said that they value my ability to be honest and truthful, but they value that they know that any advice I give them, anything that I say to them, it's not for me, but it's for their betterment. And I don't share it with them or give it to them expecting anything but them to grow. And with that being said, I'm able to state that my why is my ability to inspire, educate, help, and just be a good person. My purpose is for me to be the best person I can be, inspire the most amount of people I can inspire, help the most amount of people I can help, whether that be in transformation, whether that be in financial situations, whether that be in debt journeys, whether that be in content creation, leadership development, life growth in your personal life, which is just transformation. That's my purpose. And because of that, I'm able to understand my why. But also, my why has to do with my family. What about your family or your loved ones are pushing you to be great? I guarantee it, there's something about your loved ones that's pushing you to be great. I had a call the other day with my father, and I'm gonna be honest, it broke me down. My father broke down crying. And he broke down crying because, we don't spend a lot of time together. And it's not that we don't want to spend a lot of time together, but we just don't. We're in two different parts of the country. And because of it, we just don't see each other like we would want to. My parents are getting much older. And for me, my father broke down crying. And when he said it, it made me cry, and it made me think, like, man, I got to figure out how to start spending more time with my parents, because what my father mentioned was, like, he brought up both of my grandmothers. Both of my grandmothers passed away in their 60s. My parents just hit their 60s. That's scary. It's scary to know that my grandparents passed away in their 60s. And my parents have now hit their 60s. So how much more time do I have with them? Tomorrow's not promised. And you know, for me, they're the reason why I do everything. But in the same breath, I haven't spent a lot of time with them lately. So I got to figure out how to spend more time with them. Because they are my why. The same thing with my family. They're my why. Your why will push you to become the best that you can be. Your why will push you to become successful. It'll push you to become great. It'll push you to retire your parents, retire your wife, put your children in the best school system. Because that's the reason why we do it all. So my thing is, you got to figure out your why. And you got to figure it out quickly, because tomorrow's not promised. You don't want to waste any more time. You want to start living life. You don't want to just be existing. So if you're going to live life and not just exist, if you're going to live life to your full potential and fulfill your full purpose, then you got to figure out your why. And once you figure out your why, then you have to utilize your why as your gas, as your fire to keep going. And if you do that, you will, I can promise you, I can 100% guarantee it, you will do what you set out to accomplish. If you're still listening in, you've made it this far, my ask is that you subscribe to the channel, that you leave a comment, let me know what your why is. Make sure you share this video with somebody if you were inspired by it. Make sure you hit the notification bell. And if you're somebody who you're trying to figure out your why, you're trying to grow, you're trying to transform, definitely you can connect with me. In the description is a link to my website where you're able to schedule a call or an email. Send me an email. That way we can connect. All right. See you on the next one. Later.